You're such an asshole!
How you kids doing? The old Catmeister here on the road in the kind of central command. I guess this would be a central command. I don't own the place. I don't live here. I just stopped by. Hello, Aaron. How much for a Clarey test on Hideo Kojima and your opinion on his Metal Gear series? Thank you, Dylan. All right. Well, I remember. I'm old enough. You kids. You think that it was the PlayStation that had the first Metal Gear. Metal Gear started with Nintendo. There was Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. And I remember playing those back when I was a youngin' like you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at the guy. I did not know that there was much hubbub surrounding Hideo Kojima. I didn't even know when we were kids. Who's this guy? I did not realize that there was much fanfare surrounding him. To the point that people are like, hey, you should do a Clarey test on him. But I guess he's been trying to like kill the series because he doesn't want to do it anymore. So let's take a look at him and I'll tell you what I think about Metal Gear. Hideo Kojima, born 1963, is a Japanese video game designer, writer, director, producer, regarded as an auteur of video games. What the hell is an auteur? Is an artist, usually a film director, who applies a highly centralized and subjective control to many aspects of collaborative creative work. In other words, a person equivalent to an author of a novel or play. Oh, all right. An author of video games. During his childhood and adolescence, he developed a strong passion for action, adventure, cinema, and literature. He was hired by Konami in 1986, for which he designed and wrote Metal Gear 1987. For the MSX2, a game that laid the foundation for stealth games and the Metal Gear series. And I do remember that Metal Gear was truly a different game. This was back in the day when they used to come up with different types of games. Now all they do is add a ton of graphics, say, hey, it's the fifth in the series, and it's oh wow, another first-person shooter, whoever thought. And I remember, yeah, there was a lot of sneaking and a different strategy. It was one of the best games Nintendo ever had. His best known and most appreciated work. The title that consecrated him as one of the most acclaimed video game designers is Metal Gear Solid in 1998 for PlayStation. He is also known for producing Zone of the Enders series, as well as writing and designing Snatcher 1988 and Police Nauts 1994 graphic adventure games regarded for the cinematic presentation. In 2005, Kojima founded Kojima Productions, a software house controlled by Konami, and in 2011 he rose as vice president of Konami Digital Entertainment. In 2015, Kojima Productions split from Konami, becoming an independent software company. Kojima announced a collaboration with Sony Interactive Entertainment for a new game, Death Stranding, which is currently in development for PlayStation 4. All right. Very established. Born youngest of 3 children in Tokyo, Japan. Family moved to Osaka when he was about 4 years old. Family watched movies every night, and he wasn't allowed to go to bed till the film had finished. It's the opposite of my folk. You don't get to watch TV. You go to bed. Lie there, do nothing, look at the ceiling. When he was young, the Kojima family moved to a small city called Shirasaki. His family from the Kansai is 13 years old when his father died. And Kojima commented that early on in his life, he had to deal with death. Kojima was a latchkey kid. There you go, buddy. You're with one of us. So he didn't have a lot of money. Often having to look after himself when he came home from school. Staying home by himself in isolation still affected him, as he stated in 2004 interview. Whenever I travel and stay at a hotel, I put the TV on as soon as I enter the room just to deal with the feeling of loneliness. Hey, divorce is great. Go baby boomers. The pressure of social norms favoring a stable salary job over creative pursuits, and also because his uncle was an artist who struggled to make a living. The death of his father, which left the entire family poorer, was another reason people were telling him to eschew the arts. He started studying economics, worthless degree. Sorry, he's an older Gen Xer. You don't get a point, thankfully, because you came from poverty. But you were going to study economics. While writing short stories, he shifted creative focus to films, 8mm camera. All right, so he has a worthless degree. In an interview, career, studying economics, saw himself playing video games during his free time, mainly the Nintendo Famicom. In his 4th year in university, he surprised his peers by announcing his intention to join the video game industry despite initially having ambitions of becoming a film director. Felt a career in video games would be more satisfying. The majority of friends appear strongly discouraged Kojima from pursuing video games due to it being a new medium that was not respected or financially secure. Mother, however, remained supportive, which gave Kojima the confidence to go ahead with his dream. So this is the one guy in the history of people where he followed his dreams and the money actually followed. Where he followed the advice of his mother and it actually paid. After initially failed attempts to break into video game industry, joined MX. I'm just trying to, as a designer and planner. So he's never been a programmer. Took over the projects in the 1990s. And then it just goes through his resume of work, which is very impressive. And I would say, yes, this is all real world. He has real world working experience. 2010s, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Ended up being a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, titled Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater 3D. Yeah, now we're in 20 versions of Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid Rising was renamed Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. And he's VP. What's he doing now? Established. He's heading Kojima Productions on his own. Launched his own YouTube channel. Regular contributors, Rolling Stone. Alright, so he's still working. Real world working experience. Currently still working. Didn't come from wealth. The only problem is he had a worthless degree. So he gets a Clarey score of 1. Would I like to have a beer with him? Sure, I wouldn't mind having a beer with him. Should he run for public office? Again, the rule generally is anybody's better than what we got now, but I just don't think so. Because he's an artist. I know he probably has some real world working experience in finance and management, running his own company. Maybe he could run for office, but his origins, his genesis, which is not bad. I'm not saying, I just don't think he's cut out for it. Again, better than most politicians, but in Clarey's ideal world, I want to be an artist. Okay, well, go be an artist, but don't be a leader. He's a great leader. I know, he leads his art production facility. Now, as for the Metal Gear series, I think it's going to be reflective or representative of most Gen Xers who remember playing it. I played the first 2 on Nintendo, and then college hit, and there were 2 types of people in college. Those that had college paid for, and those that didn't. I remember those that had college paid for could play the first LAN video games on the PCs. I remember the IBM 386, they were playing a Star Wars game, and they had cables running. I didn't know what was going on because I was working. And these guys would order pizza and beer, and they could play, and it just looked amazing. So I stopped. I did play video games here and there as a downtime. I had a Super NES. But it wasn't well until mid-20s I started playing video games again with the PlayStation 1. And I think that's what Metal Gear Solid came out on, or maybe it was PlayStation 2. This is going back quite some time ago, and I remember being floored by it. Now, keep in mind, it was because of the graphics and the cinematography, which was completely new. When the PlayStation came out and you had discs, you had the rendering ability and the memory that you could have a lot more of a graphical punch. And so that was shock and awe. It's kind of the same thing with Halo, the first-person shoot 'em up. Don't tell me if there was one before it. Okay, I don't care. That's the one everybody knows. And I remember Halo just having some of the most wonderful, fun times in my life, playing against other guys with Halo on the LAN system. And then Metal Gear Solid was also a really good stealth video game. I really enjoyed it very much. It had the right amount of action, the right amount of stealth, and not just run and gun. So it was a good standalone game unto itself. But, gosh, that's coming up on 20 years ago. Has anything really changed? Now it's all the same, and it just ended up becoming... I remember the next one after that, I don't remember which one, but I stopped playing it because there was too much cutscene crap. It was all... I remember there was this one guy, I came from the days of the video games where you had to play every aspect of it because you might miss something. It was key and vital. So I remember, like, you're on the telecom with Otacon. Otacon was your guy giving you, and they're just having conversation for the sake of having conversation. And I'm like, what does this have to do with the video game? Nothing. This was somebody who couldn't hack it in the movies. I'm not talking Kojima. I'm talking some playwright wanted to go and be a playwright, going to write movies. Didn't get any of their scripts taken in by Hollywood. So now they're going to ruin a video game by making you watch this unnecessary conversation. And after a while, you're like, wait a minute, this is not integral to the video game. This is not, and then all of a sudden you started skipping stuff. But that didn't stop people. Hey, we got more bandwidth, we got more memory, we got more rendering and speed. Let's make it a big movie where occasionally you press a button, and now that's why I really haven't played a lot of video games in a long time, or bought new ones or got excited about it. Because it's basically a movie where you're slightly interacting with it. And I'm inclined to agree with the Beckloff that Nintendo, I think, if you want to have fun, you want to play games, you get a Nintendo console. God almighty, you don't even bother getting a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One because it's just a PC that has to constantly update. Video game needs updating. You need to register. I don't want... It's great. I have a Nintendo Switch. You know what's great about the Switch? I just plug it in and play. I don't need to log in. I don't need a username and password. No, I don't need an account with Sony. I destroyed my PlayStation 4 because I remember I wanted to play the Star Wars game, like Battlefront, I think it was called. Looked great. My buddy had it. And it's don't honey dick me. Don't give me a disc because... Me being the old fart Gen Xer I am, I think I put it in the disc, I close it, I hit on, I should be able to play. Oh no, not with modern day consoles, not Xbox and PlayStation, hell no. You gotta set up a username, you gotta set up a profile, you gotta go online, you gotta tell it to hook up to the fucking internet, and you just can't play the game. It's a computer. You're buying a computer without the benefit of having a keyboard, which would make typing a lot easier. You gotta link, D, link, F, fuck. And then you can say, oh, I got this game. You see, again, dumb old Gen Xer. I'm used to the olden days when you bought the game, and you're like, oh, here's the game. I have the game. The game is mine. Everything I need is on this disc or this cartridge right here. You plug it in, hey, we need to update. And, it was a 13-hour update, and I had pretty good internet. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll sleep. Wake up, update failed. That's why I ejected it, pulled it out, and just took an axe to the PlayStation 4. And that was some of the best $400 therapy I ever had. It was wonderful. So Metal Gear fell into that even earlier on with the PlayStation 2, I think, where it ended up just becoming a movie. And it was not about gameplay anymore. And so I'm reading through all these different type of Metal Gears. I conked out of Metal Gear Solid plus the next one, whatever that was titled. Metal Gear Solid was a very good game. Then the next one, I'm like, eh. And then, I had to adult. I didn't have time to really play these involved video games. And, coincidentally, that's when, you get more memory. I remember you could play Dragon Warrior. You could get through that in about a day. One of the first RPGs out there. Now, you even started to see that with the Final Fantasy games. I remember Final Fantasy VII, also PlayStation 1. I'm like, how long is this going to go? I like video games as much as the next guy, and then all of a sudden you're spending 40, 50 hours amortized over a month playing a video game just to conquer the damn thing. Borderlands 2, I bought that dirt cheap, $5 at GameStop. And even I started feeling gross and sick because weather in Vegas was horrible this winter. And I'm like, I gotta do something indoors. And I started playing, and I started feeling sick with myself because of how many hours. I didn't do any of the side missions. It was just like conquer. It was still 50 hours wasted. And so, if you're a millennial or a basement dweller or somebody that doesn't have a life, and you don't have a work ethic, and you don't have to support yourself, and you've never made that jump to adulthood, yeah, these video games are great. 100-hour video game playing Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear whatever, X Revengeance of the Snake, Liquid Snake Comeuppance 3. Fine, go watch your movie where you occasionally press a button. and be somewhat entertained. I just can't do. Life is too short for those epic saga video games. And again, this is why I've gone to the Switch. And if it's like a Red Dead Redemption or Breath of the Wild, where you could kind of get lost, okay, I'll invest some time in that as kind of an escapism. But it's a go-to. It's not like, oh, I can't wait to conquer this game. It's like, I'm sick and tired of the real world. I want to imagine I can run and have a hang glider with a funny-looking album on it. But yeah, I rarely play a blockbuster anymore. And Metal Gear Solid it got too serious. It wasn't a game anymore. And if I want to watch a movie, I don't know, I'll go watch The Bourne Identity. I'll go watch a serious military action flick before I play any of the Metal Gears, because I just don't have the time. And so I don't really have an opinion about the Metal Gear series. I know Kojima, there's been speculation that he's trying to, I guess they've just been getting worse and more dramatic because he's trying to self-sabotage it because he wants to end it. I don't know how old Snake's going to get. I remember he has a patch and he's gray hair and, okay, was this the old fart generation? So I don't have an opinion on it that wouldn't apply to pretty much video games, modern day video games in general now, where they're not games. They're participatory movies. And life is too short for that. So, all right, so there you go. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. Check out all my links down below to my books and everything. That'll help you out. You need questions, go to assholeconsulting.com. And then we got the Clarey podcast, the Older Brother podcast, all that stuff. Links down below. Maybe take a click on the expand and look and see what's down there. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.